Hello everyone, my name is Bao-Anh and today I would like to present our research about an investigations of vocabulary learning strategies employed by first-year students of Faculty of English Language Teacher Education, University of Languages and International Studies, Vietnam National University, Hanoi. This research was conducted by Phạm Bảo-Anh, Nguyễn Hong-Hanh, Nguyễn Thao, and Nguyễn Thom. Okay, so I will give you an overview of our research in terms of research questions, methodologies, findings, and conclusion. Well, the purpose of our study is to explore English major freshman perceptions of learning vocabulary and their frequently used vocabulary learning strategies, as well as the relationship between multiple intelligence and English majored freshmen's choice of vocabulary learning strategies. In particular, the research aims at answering three main questions. 1. How do first-year English major students perceive the importance of vocabulary and learning English? 2. What are vocabulary learning strategies frequently employed by first-year students at Faculty of English Language Teacher Education's University of Languages and International Studies, Vietnam National University? And 3. How UMIs, multiple intelligence, influence vocabulary learning strategies, or VLS, of first-year students of Faculty of English Language Teacher Education's University of Languages and International Studies, Vietnam National University. In terms of methodology, we surveyed 300 freshmen studying in the Faculty of English Language Teacher Education's University of Languages and International Studies, whose English proficiency level is around B2, to collect the data for the purpose of this research. The instrument of this research is in form of a questionnaire which is specifically designed to explore participants' vocabulary learning strategies during their learning process. The set of questions is divided into three sections. The first one was self-evaluation, in which participants were asked to give personal opinions about the importance of vocabulary and the effects of MIs, or multiple intelligence, on students' vocabulary learning strategies. Participants were also asked to choose type of intelligence that they believe to have influence on their learning styles among 9 kinds of MIs. In the second part, the MI test of Mackenzie in 1999 was provided to identify participants' intelligence. And the final one was a set of 22 questions adopted from Smith's VLS in 1997 and Lay's in 2018. To complete this survey, students were requested to circle the degree of frequency to which they identify which its statement from level 1, never, to level 5, always. Quantitative method was also adopted in our study to find out the shared ideas among students. The repetitions of synonyms was counted and was made into a table. We also counted the vote for each intelligence in part 1 and compared them with the score calculated in each sections in part 2 to discover the gap between the self-evaluation and the actual survey result. Finally, with the data collected from the third sections of the questionnaire, we used average a formula on Google Sheet to calculate the collected data to find the mean score of each cluster. Okay, now let's move on with the findings of our research. When we required first-year students to self-evaluate the importance of vocabulary, most of them admitted the significant effects of vocabulary on their language learning process, which is demonstrated in the use of keywords like important, crucial, integral, essential, with a really high frequency, as you can see, 151 times. So it can be seen that a large number of participants have a strong awareness of the impact of vocabulary on their learning English. Moreover, it is shown that some of the students are struggling with broadening their vocabulary range. When it comes to the result of multiple intelligence in the way learners self-evaluate and after doing the survey, it is revealed that among 229 answer forms, there were 167 students whose MI's self-evaluation matched the real result in the survey. However, it should be noticed that there were only 18 participants who could exactly recognize their multiple intelligence without any mismatch, while the others had more than they expected or chose inadequately. Yet the number of mismatching cases was 62, which accounts for nearly one-third of the total. It can be told that some students might not be aware of their multiple intelligence types. The bar chart compares participant types of multiple intelligence between the self-evaluation part and the final result after thoroughly counting the survey's answer. It can be clearly seen that there is a gap between the student's self-assessment and the analysis. The most noticeable thing is the huge gap between the numbers of participants choosing existential, interpersonal, and linguistics and the real result. 160 over 229 learners considered MIs an important aspect when they design their learning strategies. About one-fourth of them revealed that multiple intelligence had a minimal or no effect on their vocabulary learning strategies, and the other students could not or did not provide the answer, which may be the result of students' lack of knowledge about multiple intelligence. The survey results show that among all VLS cluster, device-assisted strategy is the most common chosen by the respondent, with a mean score of 3.68, while the least favored is social strategies, with a mean score of 3.08. It can be implied that living in the booming 4.0 era has allowed students to make full use of device-assisted methods in learning, especially in English vocabulary learning. This is further clarified in the way that the most frequently used strategy is learning vocabulary by using online dictionaries to look up definitions, examples, and the like, with the highest mean score of 4.31. In contrast, the least preferred one is learning by keeping a journal to write word pairs and semantic maps to understand the relationship between words in the cognitive cluster, getting the mean score of 2.38. Compared to other strategies, keeping a journal seems inconvenient and not highly effective for first-year students who have not had semantic knowledge. It can be concluded from the survey result that there is no clear evidence of the correlations between multiple intelligence and the selections of vocabulary learning strategies. Due to the mismatch between the most usually employed strategies applied by students and the number of students having multiple intelligence related to those strategies. In conclusions, we have investigated Faculty of English Language Teacher Education's first-year students' perceptions of vocabulary and their approaches to learning vocabulary, in addition to determining the correlations between multiple intelligence and students' vocabulary learning strategies preferences. Our findings and discussions revealed that learning vocabulary is of paramount significance to Faculty of English Language Teachers, education students, and the self-evaluations questionnaire demonstrated that students are strongly aware of the importance of vocabulary learning. Among the different types of intelligence, existential intelligence is the most popular among the surveys, although the majority of them did not self-evaluate to possess this type. Evidence from the survey revealed that nearly 70% of respondents acknowledged that multiple intelligence had a great impact on their learning. From the VLS questionnaires adapted, it can be concluded that all 22 strategies were employed by our participants. Among the different types of VLS, device-assisted strategies type was the most popular preference for vocabulary learning. Regarding the least popular strategies, the cognitive cluster received the lowest score for strategies of keeping a journal to write word pairs and semantic maps to understand the relationship between words. And there exists unclear evidence for the connections between multiple intelligence and the choice of vocabulary learning strategies. In the process of conducting this research, we have encountered some obstacles that exert certain limitations affecting the outcome of the survey, namely time constraint, first-year student reading comprehension, as well as the irrelevance in questions items to Vietnamese students. Therefore, translations and explanations for the questionnaire should be included, and questions items should be revised and adapted to the characteristic of the target respondents. Also, for the research, should conduct experimental studies to investigate the connections between multiple intelligence and the selection of VLS, since this study is a part of the student research program spanning from September of 2019 to June of 2020, and the methods employed were surveying and quantitative methods. Approximately 300 questionnaires were distributed to over 10 first-year classes, collecting 229 qualified answer sheets. After the data was obtained and analyzed, the results on students' MIs and their choice of VLS can contribute to designing effective learning and teaching activities in general, as well as learning and teaching English in specific. For teachers and students, the results suggest the most preferred and useful learning strategies among students, hence boosting the effectiveness in the teaching and learning process when teachers employ these strategies in the classroom. For researchers, the outcome of this paper can serve as foundations for further studies with limitations and suggestions for improvement mentioned above. And here are some of our references for this research. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.